The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAM, Special Committee on Examination Infractions presented its findings on the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. And the report stated that parents played a big role, including some tutorial centers. Schools were not left out, and even computer-based test operators, all complicit in undermining the integrity of the examination. Now, the committee uncovered 4,251 cases of finger blending and 190 instances of artificial intelligence-assisted impersonation through image morphing. In addition, 1,878 false disability claims, forged credentials, multiple national identification number registrations, and collusion between candidates and syndicates were also uncovered. Now, the concern for many is what happens to the nation's admission process when malpractice has become highly organized, technology-driven, and dangerously normalized. How can the nation reclaim integrity in admission processes? Well, tonight, our focus is on the infractions in the 2025 UTME report, and our guest is Mr. Jake Ekpele, the chairman, JAM Special Committee on Examination Infractions. Thank you for joining us and choosing to be part of Weekend File. Your company means a lot to us. I'm Ruth Aguele. Now, before we delve into the issues, let's bring you the news. Minister of Works David Umahi has reaffirmed the federal government's commitment towards completing the Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway on schedule, describing it as a legacy project under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. This was while he was inspecting ongoing works at that axis. Let's hear from Ibrahim Nababa.
Inspection is the latest push to deliver on one of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's legacy projects, the Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway. Minister of Works David Umahi is at the site just a day after a similar visit by the Minister of State for Works, Bello Muhammad Gwarinyu, underscoring the federal government's unwavering commitment to the project's completion within the stipulated time frame.
The Northwest is living up to, the promises of Mr. President.
Umahi reiterated President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's vision to ensure equitable distribution of the nation's developmental projects, stressing that the superhighway is a key part of that mission.
We've appealed to high-tech, please, no adjustment of price. Look at it a lump sum, but go ahead and keep the quality and the integrity of the project.
The minister maintains that government has fully invested in the project and will be completed without delay.
I assure you, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president for all, is the president of this country and president for Northwest.
The federal officials and contractors working on the project are aligned in their commitment to delivering exceptional results on schedule.
The renewed hope agenda of Mr. President to bring projects across the 6 geopolitical zones, this is one of it.
He is complying with all our instructions and before he put the second layer or any layer.
With this strong commitment, along with government's effective supervision of the contracting firms, the more than 1,000-kilometer superhighway project will serve as a game changer for the Northwest, boosting the economy of not just Nigeria, but neighboring countries. From Sokoto, Bashir Ibrahim Nababa, NTA News.
And still on infrastructure, trail services along the Abuja-Kaduna route expected to resume soon after the derailment as repairs we hear near completion. Ladi Bala will give us an update now.
Accidents of any sort leave behind varying degrees of impact. However, deliberate and proactive steps taken to prevent reoccurrence with a human-face approach make the difference.
These underscore the sustained effort of stakeholders in restoring damaged tracks along Abuja-Kaduna route.
The concrete slippers already, so it's just for us now to connect the rails and also insert the fish plates to connect at both ends.
They are doing very well and we've achieved a lot, and I'm really impressed with the kind of work they are doing.
The level of the work is okay. There is no problem because the way we handle it right from beginning up to this extent is very good.
The mobilization of critical stakeholders, machines and technical personnel for the evacuation of coaches and locomotives, and now the almost completion of repairs to the damaged tracks demonstrates the commitment and determination of the Nigerian Railway Corporation to restore Nigerians' hope in the sector.
Specifically, laying of the track, that is to assure fitness for traffic at the site here, is 90% completed. So the other 10% we can do in the next week. For us, we will have declared the line fit for operations by the time we would have checked the line for this safety audit we're talking about.
The site shows no sign of train derailment, only relentless workers laying sleepers, rails and related materials, as well as unheard echo of hope of restoration of train services lingering in the air. From the Kaduna-Abuja train derailment scene, Ladibala, NTA News.
Thank you, Ladi. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission has successfully overseen the conversion of Petroleum Prospecting License 202 to Petroleum Mining Lease 66, an achievement the Commission believes reinforces Nigeria's standing as a prime destination for both local and international oil and gas investors. Lydia Sampson reports.
This symbolic action of putting pen to paper seals the deal, a milestone that not only signifies the successful transition of a key asset, but also highlights the transformative potential of the petroleum industry at 2021.
This milestone achievement follows the successful commercial discovery of hydrocarbons in the field and the subsequent conversion of the asset in accordance with Section 81, Subsection 1 of the Petroleum Industry Act.
He urged the holders of the Petroleum Mining Lease 66 to maintain their positive momentum and ensure that the benefits of this development extend beyond corporate boardrooms to the Nigerian people. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Troops of 12th Brigade Nigerian Army under Operation Accord 3, in conjunction with other hybrid forces, have eliminated a notorious criminal in Kogi State, Babangida Kachala, second in command to Kachala Shuaibu, the leader of a bandit group. The troops engaged bandits hibernating within the forest center and the General Ayetoro area. A statement by Assistant Director, Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Hassan Abdullahi says a fully loaded magazine, 31 handsets, a blood pressure machine and illicit drugs were recovered. In other news, Kano State government will take full responsibility for the medical and educational needs of conjoined twins recently separated through a surgical procedure in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf made the announcement while receiving the twins and their parents at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport. Abdullahi Mustafa has the details for us.
Born 3 years ago in Kano, Hassana and Husseina were conjoined at the chest, sharing vital organs in the lower abdomen, pelvis, lower spine and spinal nerves, a rare and complex condition requiring a highly delicate surgical procedure. Following the directive of King Salman bin Abdulaziz, the twins were flown to Saudi Arabia in October 2023. There, a team of 38 medical specialists successfully carried out the separation surgery at the King Abdullah Specialist Children's Hospital in Riyadh. Nearly 23 months after their departure, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf and the Consul General of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in Kano welcomed the now separated twins and their parents back home.
On behalf of the good people of Kano State, I seize this opportunity to most humbly thank His Majesty, the King of Saudi Arabia, as well as the Consul General.
In an emotion-laden moment, the parents expressed gratitude to the Saudi monarch and the Kano State government for making the life-saving surgery possible. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Cheering news indeed. But what's not cheering? It's the conversation we're about to have, talking about the infractions of the 2025 UTME report. That will be after the break. Stay tuned.
By the special grace of God, I will be turning 65 years old on the 21st September 2025. And this happens to be a Sunday. This is why I have decided to dedicate the day to God for all His blessings in my life and having a quiet birthday. I wish to appeal to those who would like to send a birthday card, cakes, flowers, greetings in the newspapers, or gifts. Should please send the funds to the designated account for a special project close to my heart, among many others. The completion of the National Library. This will be the best birthday present I could receive. My love for education has informed my decision to dedicate my birthday to this worthy cause. This fund is coordinated by the Federal Ministry of Education under Oluremi at 65 Education Fund, Zenith Bank PLC. Account number is 131031497.
The future of education in Nigeria.
Mr. Ekpele, you just
alarming.
Yes, it's really alarming, and you just read the report. It's good you pointed out those issues, which I expect you to break down for us. So, based on your findings, the report also said 80% of these infractions were parents, motivated. Parents played a big role, and it beats my imagination in the disguise, of trying to give your children the best. Which way to go?
Ruth, it is indeed alarming at a very high scale that parents will go and hire examination experts, they call them, pay them. The payment can go from 250,000 to ₦1 million naira to go and sit for examination for their children. It is these expert examiners and miracle workers, so-called, that will go the extra length to manipulate technology to ensure that sometimes they are double-bodied. So you find two people going into examination hall. One person is the expert taking the exam. The other one is just the student who is pretending to be taking the exam. This is very frightening. And somebody, again, I made this caveat. I don't work for JAM. I don't speak for JAM. But however, thank God, because we did a benchmarking of JAM technology, comparing it to any other African examination body. We couldn't find one. We had to go to Europe and US. Truly, the system that JAM has put in place beats every examination center in Africa, equals the examination center of Europe and America. Excellent technology deployed by JAM. If not, we wouldn't have been able to uncover these things. So this is not speaking for JAM. I don't speak for JAM. JAM cannot hire me, to be honest with you. So I don't speak for JAM.
Okay.
But I found out that the system in JAM were able to uncover what we found out. There's no way we would have been able to do the work if they didn't have the right system.
So that means, from what you're saying, Mr. Ekpele, the system was not compromised in any way?
No.
These are human factors.
They are technologically driven, human-enabled factors.
Okay.
Avoidable, but they deliberately did it. Let me say this, that I spoke to Professor, I'm going to call name, Professor Yala Peterside from Pennsylvania University. What he told me this afternoon scared me. He said to me, every Nigerian student now in America that wants to get into university or get a job, once they present their certificate, they don't bother trying to make reference to the university they are coming from. They don't trust it. They will subject you to an examination because our certificates is fast becoming toilet paper.
So, Mr. Ekpele, based on your findings, there's also forged credentials, multiple name, that is the national identification numbers and all of that. Based on the report you submitted, has anyone been found culpable? Because if these tutorial centers, CBT centers, are liable to these findings based on your report, why are we not hearing a report of anyone found culpable? Or you tell us if anyone has been found culpable.
Ruth, I've known you for years, and I've known this station. As a matter of fact, I give glory to God for who I am today. And NTA can share in that glory, because NTA is part of the thing that projected my work. You know the truth? This is what we do. Mind you, my background is media. This is what we do. The moment we hear story, oh, JAM did this, oh, this student scored that, we are quick to put a camera on that student and say, oh, this person, without going back to JAM to say, please give us the back-end report of this student. That's what happened. You remember the case of the girl, all right?
Yeah.
That's what happened. She came out, doctored the report, claimed what was not true, and then the whole country celebrated her. Shamefully, the parents were there, happy. And I'm not trying to demonize this young girl, all right? She was talked into it, okay? So what happened was that JAM went back to their back end, pulled her report, and said, no, this girl is not telling the truth. That's what happened. They went begging, oh, please, save her future. I mean, we do. But I think there are provisions in Child Rights Act that is beginning to bring out juvenile offenders and put them where they should belong. Because sometimes their parents are not aware. Most times their parents are aware. So the truth is, there are many people that are being prosecuted. The problem is that our journalists don't follow to the end and see where that person will end. So we saw many cases. My committee, we sat down with some of the offenders. We interrogated them. We interviewed them. From my little experience in civil society, that person is an accused. So we treated him with the respect he deserved. And I told the policeman, said, look, treat him with respect until he's prosecuted
and found guilty.
And found guilty, all right? He's in custody. There are many people. And let me also say this, boldly. Many big men in this country whose children are responsible for that are the first to call either the police or the investigator, please, one phone call away, the person is released. That's the problem we have. And until this problem is solved, our certificate will become worthless.
Mr. Ekpele, I'd like to look at the technology aspect that you said was humanly motivated. It just shows the brilliancy of people and taking advantage of this AI. Is it supposed to be a blessing in the advancement of our educational system or a curse?
AI is a blessing.
Okay.
I took 600 and something pages of my report, put it through my system, and in minutes, it gave me a summary. What is finger blending? Somebody will ask. Finger blending. we detected finger blending is just fingerprints that were deliberately altered or swapped to allow imposters to sit exam for candidates. That's what your finger, the finger of the person who is going to sit for you, both of them, finger, once you put your finger, the computer will capture it.
For the biometrics?
Yes.
Okay.
If another person puts his finger, the computer will capture it.
Yeah.
So both of them will have access to the examination hall, okay? One person will sit down pretending that he's writing, the other person is writing. Ruth, there are more alarming cases of where a candidate is in the CBT center pretending to be writing exam. The real person who is writing exam has mirrored her system and is in the strong room, in the other room, collaborated by the CBT centers, and is writing the exam, submitting to JAM, and this person in the CBT centers, okay, that is pretending to be writing the exam is not doing it. Now, more to that, there's more to that, where because JAM will monitor the CBT centers from their control room, they will take tissue paper and cover the camera.
You don't say.
Oh, yes. They will take tissue papers, cover the camera. Are you talking about some of these young boys who are into this? You know, go to their account. Many of them have millions, billions. Let me not exaggerate. Millions, hundreds of millions on their account. How? Calculate 250,000 naira by, say, 500 people. I'm not a very good mathematician.
Okay.
So that's the problem we have. Some of them, look, even some universities are not exempted. There's a need to begin to interrogate the certificates that some of the universities are issuing.
Okay. Mr. Ekpele, you know, I'm still curious, so especially knowing these deep findings and why they still thrive. But that will, you know, will continue after the break. Let's take a break. We have to ponder on some thoughts.
Prime Ministry of Transportation in collaboration with Abuja Chamber
starts here, surrounded by life-made furniture. From my wardrobe to my bed, Life-Made Furniture's whole house customization designs every piece to perfection. I love that in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja.
On renewable energy to achieve desired national development. Renewable energy and emergent state electricity market on the 16th of September 2025, shaping Nigeria's power sector with active involvement of states. NTA Tuesday Live, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Educative and incisive. Don't miss it.
Thank you for staying with us. Success in any examination is achievable through adequate preparation by the students, of course. But in recent times, we're seeing the surge in examination malpractice. Joel Popuola reports that stakeholders in the education sector are calling for more stringent measures in order to curb this trend.
Examination malpractice has become a thorn for examination bodies. With the growing population of students seeking admission to the nation's tertiary institutions, the competition for the little available slots is fast becoming that of survival of the smartest, and experts believe this has triggered an increase in cases of examination infractions.
In 2016, when Professor Oloyede came on board as the registrar of JAMB, he had actually tried as much as possible to put technology in place to address some of these concerns. And I keep asking, why do these things continue to come up? They will continue to come up because we have not addressed the roots.
So how do you expect them to learn? If you don't come to class to teach them, they won't know what to write during exam. So they end up cheating during examination. So what they do is to go online to seek for knowledge. And what they will do, they will have to write those knowledge down, take inside the exam hall.
Educationists believe examination infractions have taken a worrisome dimension, with some private schools eager to impress and attract parents with high academic performances, especially in UTME, and the pressure from parents eager to see their wards gain admission at all costs has complicated the matter.
In Nigeria now, nobody repeats again. Because if you repeat my child, I will query you. And I can change him from that school.
The consensus is for all stakeholders to understand that the development will negatively impact on the credibility and rating of Nigerian tertiary institutions and their products. In Lagos, Joel Popuola, NTA News. All
right, Mr. Ekpele, let's pick up with the conversation. you know, we're just having a chit-chat behind the scene. Not every parent, and we're just seeing from that report, you know, some parents are standing against it, which is the way to go.
Exactly.
But part of your recommendation, talking about the committee, was the weak legal framework, which you said made regulations a bit difficult. I want you to expatiate on that.
Can I give you three more, and then I'll expatiate on that?
Go ahead, please.
One, there's a need to strengthen technology safeguards, deploying AI-powered biometrics verification with anti-morphing software. Those things are available. Number two, centralized data access to reduce CBT center manipulation. Number three, institutional reform. We need stricter accreditation and periodic audit of this CB. The problem is coming from them. Introduce an independent oversight body for examination monitoring. There's a need for us to begin to think about that, you know. Cultural orientation. National campaign on integrity first in education. There's a need. Most parents don't know. So there's a need to talk about this thing. Parent-teachers engagement on dangers of malpractices. Now, to answer your question, Ruth, legal enforcement actions, establishment of special courts, not tribunal, special courts, to ensure there is speedy delivery of judgment for these offenders. Elaborating on security agencies for real-time investigation. Do you know that the legal unit, a small office in JAM, does not have the power to prosecute? The head of that is a doctor, is a PhD in law. When they go to court, they sit down. So JAM will have to hire expensive lawyers to go to court. Now, let me give you an instance. There is a court hearing in Anambra, and the lawyer, JAM will pay ticket, hotel, allowance, everything, and the person goes. And the judge will say, oh, I'm not sitting today. That's a total colossal loss. So there's a need for the National Assembly.
I was going to say that.
I'm using this opportunity to call up my friend, the Deputy Speaker, the speakers. They said there is time for us to sit down and amend the JAM Act.
Yeah.
That does not give them, it doesn't even give them all the legal impetus to prosecute. So there's a need for that act to be amended so that it will give JAM and the legal department in JAM the power to actually administer justice and ensure that all the culprits will not go scot-free. It is alarming what is happening. And I think sometimes I'm tempted to say there's a need to call for a state of emergency in the education sector. It's becoming uncontrollable.
So what about the schools? You talked about the parents-teachers relationship, which is expected to be strengthened, but the schools were part of your report.
Yes, especially
it's
the private schools. Especially the private schools, Ruth. The private schools, in their quest to produce the best result.
It's more like a competition, right?
They actually, some of them, not all of them, some of them gets involved in hiring these expert examination takers. Just to make sure, oh, our school scored the highest in JAM. Excuse me, let's go back to JAM's end and interrogate it. How did you score what you score? Sometimes there's a need to bring back those students and put them in the room and ask them to write the exam by themselves. You'll be amazed.
So part of the recommendation is the Integrity First campaign, which falls on the purview of NOA. Going forward, Mr. Ekpele, where do they begin?
Well, NOA can collaborate. NOA shouldn't do it, period. JAM has the problem. They understand the problem. JAM have experts within them. I think most, probably, JAMB has relationship with all the media houses. Look, Ruth, this is not about half hour. JAMB half hour, JAMB 1 hour. Let's go beyond that. Let there be an advertising agency that will go into the problem, look at public perception, look at how to deal with this issue. Let's create town hall meetings where the likes of Oluyede and even the Honorable Minister will take questions from people. Let's put more security attention to all these children when they are taking exams. And big men, when your child is caught, allow that child to go through the problem he has caused for himself or herself. You know, there's no point trying to pretend that everything is okay. How will you feel when your child comes home with a certificate that he can't even read his name or her name? How would you feel?
And Mr. Ekpele, you're a strong advocate of inclusion. And the report stated more than 1,800 disability, false disability claim. Which way to go if they have to strengthen this disability verification? You know,
I'm going to explain something a bit technical. The eyes of the persons with albinism has a way of lowering, for instance, if you take a picture of my eyes, oftentimes you will see redness, okay? Even with your camera, yeah, okay. So our iris sometimes gets affected. So certain cameras are not able to capture, so they took advantage of that. That 1,878 numbers you see are not just persons, they are persons with albinism. So albinism was their target, you know? So there are many things that, Ruth, I cannot say here because it borders on national security. But it is concerning. And I know that the president would take this very seriously and do something. You know, the current Minister of Education, I haven't met him. I wrote to him on Friday because I wanted to meet him. He's doing a wonderful job, and I'm sure he will take this up.
All right, Mr. Jake Ekpele, we want to thank you. And I'm sure Nigerians are just expectant in the aspect of transparency, fairness, and equity to thrive in the education system. Thank you for your time on Weekend File. And
let me just make this statement.
Very briefly.
That if we lose the integrity in education, we will lose the foundation of our national future.
All right.
Let's invest in certificate in the place of this rotten certificate that they cannot prove where they got it from.
And not what dreams. All right. So thank you very much, Mr. Ekpele.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that's a food for thoughts, don't you think so? So let's take a break while you ponder on that.
Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National... We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Thank you for staying with us. On the global scene, Democratic Republic of Congo's military court has postponed the verdict in the treason trial of former President Joseph Kabila. And United Arab Emirates reaffirms commitment to strengthen relations with the African Union Commission. Chukunonso Wabueze reports.
The adjournment comes as the military justice agreed to reopen the debate after a last-minute appeal demanding a reclassification for espionage. The treason trial of the former president began July this year in a military court in the capital, Kinshasa. He also faces other charges, including murder and rape, linked to his alleged support for M23 rebels, but Kabila denies the charges. He had been living outside the country for 2 years, but arrived in the rebel-held city of Goma in eastern DRC in May from self-imposed exile in South Africa Former presidents in DRC Congo serve as senators for life and enjoy lifetime immunity. However, in May, Kabila's fellow senators stripped his immunity to allow his prosecution. In other news, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, has reaffirmed its commitment at deepening collaboration with the African Union Commission. UAE's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, who stated this when he played host to the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, in Abu Dhabi. Talks between the two centered on strengthening support for development efforts across Africa. Sheikh Abdullah also reiterated UAE's resolve to bolster ties with the African Union Commission and fostering positive relations with African nations to support sustainable development and economic growth on the continent. Meanwhile, rescue workers race against time to reach 7 miners trapped in an illegal gold shaft that collapsed in southwest Colombia. Officials say the 7 had been underground since Thursday night after a landslide struck the municipality. Chukunonso Nwabweze, NTA News.
And next will be sports update. Ayo Deji Makinde is set for us. Ayo?
Thanks so much, Ruth. So many things to talk about, but let's begin with athletics, where Nigeria's sole representative in the women's 100 meters at the ongoing 2025 World Athletics Championship in Tokyo, Rosemary Chukwuma, is out of contention for medals after finishing 5th in the heat 2 with a time of 11.27 seconds. Jamaica's Taya Clayton won the heat in 11.01 seconds, while Britain's Dina Asher-Smith and Poland's Ewa Swoboda claimed the other automatic qualification spots. Meanwhile, Nigeria's Konyisola Ajayi and Israel Okun lived up to expectations on their World Championships debut, storming into the men's 100-meter semi-finals at the National Stadium in Tokyo. Moving on to football, Flying Eagles head coach Aliyu Zubairu has vowed that the team is determined to better the country's previous records at the FIFA Under-20 Men's World Cup in Chile. The team, made up of both home-based and Europe-based players, is expected to depart Abuja Sunday to intensify training ahead of the tournament, which kicks off September 17. Nigeria is drawn in Group F against Colombia, Norway and Saudi Arabia.
Anything short of the past record, Nigeria don't accept it. You may think you have done well. The best result that can bring joy to the country is to surpass those records. And I believe the boys really understand that, and we are working towards it. I believe it's very much achievable, and it's a challenge on the players and the whole technical crew as it is.
Elsewhere in the Nigeria Premier Football League, Israel Emmanuel struck in the 93rd minute to earn Bendel Insurance a 1-0 victory over Niger Tornadoes at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium for their first league win of the season. Match day 4 continues on Sunday as Bayelsa United play Eyimba. Rangers International of Enugu face Kano Pillars. Defending champions Remo Stars are in Jos to play Plateau United, just as Rivers United entertain Shooting Stars Sports Club of Ibadan. Away from Nigeria, Arsenal stretched their winning run at the Emirates to 3 straight home games for the first time since August 2024 with a 3-0 win over Nottingham Forest in the early kickoff on Saturday. At the Hill Dickinson Stadium, Everton and Aston Villa played out a goalless draw. Elsewhere, Bournemouth edged Brighton 2-1, while Crystal Palace were held to a goalless draw. Newcastle, despite losing star striker Alexander Isak to Liverpool, managed a narrow 1-0 victory over Wolverhampton Wanderers, while Tottenham hammered West Ham United 3-0 in the London derby. Well, on Sunday, Burnley welcomed defending champions Liverpool, and the first Manchester derby of the season is at the Etihad at 4:30 in the evening. Well, just to also tell you that moments ago, Chelsea were forced to a 2-2 draw by Brentford with 2 late goals courtesy of Moise Caicedo and Fabio Carvalho for Brentford. That's your sports. It's back to Ruth.
Many thanks, Ayo. So let's do the weather together as usual.
Hello, and glad to have you with us on the weather forecast. Sunday holds prospects of morning rains in parts of Cross River, Akwa Ibom and Delta states. A prospect of morning thunderstorms and rains in parts of Niger, Benue, Kogi, Taraba and Adamawa in the northeast, as well as most parts of the northwestern states. Going into the afternoon and evening hours, our weather indices indicates moderate rains in the coast and inland cities of the south, while thunderstorms and rains are expected to extend to the north central and parts of the north, leaving the northwestern states to experience mostly partly cloudy skies. Stand by for the temperature forecast and have a great Sunday. I am Theodora Itzum. Thank you for watching.
Now, just before we go, something spicy. The historic jollof rice, you know about it. The cooking embarked upon by former holder of Guinness World Record, Hilda Bassi, has been done and dusted, with her fans eagerly awaiting the official results to show another world record. The excited crowd, made up of fans, foodies, celebrities, and social media influencers, cheered Bassi on from 12 noon on Friday to 4 a.m. Saturday morning. Now that's a true definition of having faith in her culinary skills. She didn't disappoint, as she and her team cooked up a storm with the aroma permeating the environment where the historic endeavor took place. Although the massive 6x6 meter pot for the expedition caved in slightly as they tried to lift it for the measurement, which is an important step for Bassi's record-breaking attempt. But the jollof rice was not affected, don't worry. Wife of Ogun State Governor Bamidele Abiodun, we hear, was there to support Bassi. And before you ask, the smoke was not a problem, as she assisted the ambitious chef cook in her own little way. And I hear the jollof is still remaining, no? But before we go, I'll leave you with Hilda Bassi's words. She said this is not just about, demonstrating her culinary skills or jollof, biggest pot of jollof, but a testament of faith, unity, of course. So ponder on that, and that's where we wrap up Weekend File. Thank you for being part of it. I'm Ruth Aguilera. Bye.